want to take a look at Roxanne. I love to have students work on Roxanne for a couple reasons. The main one, though, is the best way to get better at playing bar chords. It's got some bar chords in it, so if you're not up to playing bar chords yet, start working on this because this will help you get better at bar chords. It uses some partial bar chords and some full bar chords, but the most important thing is one of the best exercises I like to have people do for bar chords is practice squeezing them. Well, that's the way you play this song, is you put the chord down and you just keep pumping the chord while you stroke it. So that's what we're going to work on in Roxanne. The second part of the song has got just some chords, not really as big a deal going on in there. Just strumming some bar chords, but again, it's the first part of the song that I really like to have people work on this. So again, early song by the Police, great tune for working on your bar chords. We'll talk about some of the theory involved in a second, but what I want to do is let's get in and look at the left, what your left hand and right hand have to do, and then we'll play through it, and that'll be it for Roxanne. A few different chords we're going to look at here in Roxanne. The main family of chords we're going to be using is, well, let me talk about the main family first, I guess. G minor would be a bar at the 3rd fret and shaped like an E minor with your 3rd and 4th fingers at the 5th fret of the 4th and 5th strings. Now, in the beginning of Roxanne, what we do is we use this chord, but just a mini version of it or a partial version, so we need to bar 3 strings and have your 3rd finger on the 4th string. Now, the hand position for this type of chord is very important. You can't go with the baseball bat grip again and be choking the neck like this. You have to keep your thumb down low on the neck and work on these partial bars. You try to have what we call a hinge bar with your 1st finger. You're not trying to do it like this with your finger locked straight as it would be if you were playing a full bar chord. So for these partial bar chords, you need to have this knuckle bent at almost a 90-degree angle like that, and then pulled into the strings to cover 3 strings. So I've got a bar across 3 strings at the 3rd fret, and then I've got my 3rd finger up here at the 5th fret. Now that's our G minor chord, and that's how the song opens up. But the most important thing about this song is that every time you play the chord, you just squeeze it very quickly as you're strumming it. So that's the motion for all of these chords, and that's the technique that we need to work on here in Roxanne, is all of the bar chords have to just get squeezed as you're playing them, just like that. So I open up with the G minor. Now the next chord is a D minor. One of the normal fingerings we could use for D minor would be 1st finger here, 2nd there, and 4th on the D. But we need an F in the bass. We need your 3rd finger to play the 3rd fret of the 4th string right there. So this is D minor / F. D minor with F in the bass would be the way we would describe that. Most important thing about this chord is your 3rd finger was just on that string. You need to practice going from the G minor here, hitting it 4 times, and then keeping your 3rd finger in contact with the string as you slide down to the 3rd fret of the D string. Then put your other fingers down onto a D minor chord. The 3rd chord is an E flat major 7. Now we need to make a partial bar here across the 3rd fret with your 3rd finger, 3 strings covered at the 3rd fret, and your 1st finger back here on the 1st fret of the 4th string. Now this chord, there's another way of playing this. We could play this barred up at the 6th fret in an A major 7 shape, but this is essentially a shape from a D chord. D major 7 would be this, and if we move everything up a half step, we move these up, we need to move the bass note up, and we have E flat major 7. So again, this has some tricky chords in it. That's the hardest part of the song, is we're going from G minor to D minor with F in the bass to our E flat major 7, followed by a couple of normal bar chords. And again, this E flat major 7, Andy Summers usually plays this barred up at the 6th, but I like to have people play it down here at the 1st to have 3 chords kind of in this area before we go up the neck to the 5th fret for a D minor 7. This is a bar at the 5th with your 2nd finger on the 6th fret of the 2nd string and your 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the 4th string. This is an A minor 7 shape of a chord. This makes it D minor 7 because this would be the root of this chord out of our A shapes. The next chord is C minor 7, the exact same chord done at the 3rd fret, followed by a bar at the 1st. F would of course be this, 3 fingers in an E shape. What we need is F7 suspended 4, kind of a scary name for a relatively easy chord to play. Again, assuming you can handle some of these bar chords. It's played with your fourth finger moving from the fourth string to the third string, and your second finger just off. Nice, great sound of a 7 suspended 4 chord, followed by a quick change to a G7 suspended 4. So that's our chord sequence. Again, I kept my third finger in contact with the string as I slid from G minor to D minor with F in the bass, to the E flat major 7, to the D minor 7 at the 5th, C minor 7 at the 3rd, F7 suspended 4 at the 1st, G7 suspended 4 here. The rest of the song, later on we're going to play a full G minor, and we're also going to play B flats and Fs. Now the B flat chord I've got in the tablature, I believe, at the 6th fret out of the E shapes, but it could be played with a bar at the 1st out of the A shapes as well. So again, Roxanne is a hardcore bar chord exercise. So our B flat would be here, the F would be here, and then in this section of the song we want to play a full G minor, which would be barred at the 3rd in an E minor shape. So hopefully you got all that. That's it as far as what happens in the left hand for Roxanne. Roxanne. Right hand, pretty simple. I'm playing my partial G minor chord across 4 strings, but the main thing I'm doing here is I have to strum just those 4 strings. So I would probably keep an anchor down here when I do this and not try to hit all the strings, because chances are then I'm going to get the 6th strings and 5th string played as part of it. So you can play this with just these small little strokes where I've got the anchor down here. I like, again, to do this with my knuckle curled. Some people prefer to do it like this. In either case, you need to be able to move your hand across a certain group of strings nice and clean, like that. So, and again, what I'm doing with my left hand is squeezing the chord just as I play it and then releasing it right away so that it cuts it off. I'm not using my right, I'm not doing this, which is another way of muting the strings, not in Roxanne. So I'm using my left hand to stop those. So I'm really just strumming down on all the chords. And that's it, just across 4 strings for the first couple of chords, 5 strings when I get to the bar of the 5th, and all 6 strings for the F7 suspended 4 and the G7 suspended 4. So the strokes get bigger as the song goes on. Here's a close-up of the right hand as I play through the chords. Again, I've got my knuckle down as I'm doing this, but now I'm going to take it off because I'm going to go for a bigger stroke across 5. Here's the F7 sus 4. I'm hitting all 6 strings. And I have to rush to get to the next chord. Now, the right hand, I'll talk a little bit more about this later in the playthrough part. But as we go into the rest of the bar chords, you can either just pound away on almost power chord versions of the chords, or you could keep a little more strumming going. This part on the record is so there really isn't much going on the guitar. It's mostly the bass pounding away on those chords, but you do need to be able to play those bar chords and just keep the strumming going. So that's about it for the right hand in Roxanne. Let's see if we can put that all together now. So again, for Roxanne, one of the most important things you can do, that you have to do, is get these chords down and just practice brushing down and squeezing them as you play, but you're releasing them right afterwards. So that, and then when it gets to the full bar chord part, just keep this constant strum going down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. I don't think I have that. I don't have that written in the tablature, but you should be able to get the hang of that. And again, you could play the bar chord, once it gets to the B flat section, you could play it with just power chords at the 6th fret and 1st fret and for the F and 3rd fret for the G. So let's see, really important things on the chord changes. The G minor, the partial G minor, the first thing you got to do with this chord is get it sounding good. You're going to hit it 4 times, and then your 3rd finger again stays in contact with the string while it slides down to the F as part of the D minor with F in the bass. That is really important. You'll never get that chord in time if you let go of your 3rd finger. Don't forget the E flat major 7 that's coming up is either done with your 1st finger on just the 4th string at the 1st fret and your 3rd finger flattened out across the top 3 strings at the 3rd fret, or barred up at the 6th in an A major 7 shape. Got to find my tip on major 7 chords if it's around here someplace. I'm not sure yet. So anyway, and then of course we have the D minor 7 and the C minor 7 and the F7 suspended 4 and the G7 suspended 4. So I'm going to run through this, and I hope you play along with me. practice it a lot until you get to where you can keep it going at a really slow speed. I'm going to do this at 90, which is a medium speed. This is not as slow as I would rather have you practice it first, but I'm trying to kind of find a medium speed here that most people could aspire to. So we're going to play it just the way it is in the tab, which is 2 measures of G minor as an intro, and then we'll be into the verse. And we've got some repeat signs and stuff in there. Let's just see what it sounds like. Here we go. 2, 3, intro. Beginning of the verse. Change. Quick change here. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, repeat. Next line, the C minor 7. Just keep the same easy squeezing on the downs. That line again. Now, really more happens here. Let's pick it up on the B flat. Down to F. To G minor. Go to E flat at the first fret this time for no particular reason. Just to show you don't always have to do it the same way. I'm going to go way up for the F, the 8th fret. G7 suspended 4, hit it and stop. Then we can take it back to the beginning. So there you go, all the little parts that you need to play Roxanne, and all you need is a voice like Sting's to make it sound just like the record, or borrow somebody you know that sounds just like that. I'm sure everybody knows somebody that sounds just like Sting. So that's it for Roxanne. Great bar chord exercise. I love to have people work on this song. It's not easy, so this is not really for beginners, but if you're ready to take on bar chords and you're really looking for a way to improve your bar chords, this is a great song for you. So work on it, just be patient, try to play a little bit every day. Also, I haven't mentioned this in a while, but you're going to get really tired playing these bar chords. Don't overdo it. Don't hurt yourself. You don't want to spend 20 minutes one day playing this and then find that you now can't play for another week because you just beat yourself up. So take it in small doses. That's why this squeezing thing is so good. This is what really builds up the muscles in your hand to get better and faster at playing bar chords. Roxanne, bar chord exercise galore. Anyway, you get what I'm talking about.